So what happens when your father's shadow, well, it stretches all the way to the stars?
Right.
Today we're plunging into the life of John Herschel. He's the son of the astronomical titan William Herschel.
Yeah.
Just imagine the weight of that name, and the expectation to follow in those groundbreaking, telescope-pointing footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
Could John possibly, break free and chart his own celestial course? Let's find out.
That's really the captivating core of his story, isn't it? It's not just about inheriting a legacy.
No.
It's wrestling with it.
Yeah.
And ultimately redefining what it even meant to be a Herschel.
Exactly.
Our exploration today, it goes far beyond just his astronomical discoveries. Yeah. We'll uncover some surprising shifts in his path, really a remarkable breadth of intellectual pursuits, and just the sheer tenacity it took to leave his own, indelible mark.
Absolutely. We're going to delve into his initial brilliance in mathematics, which might be a real shocker for some, given the family business, so to speak.
Then his brief sort of foray into the world of law, and then his eventual yet uniquely personal embrace of astronomy.
And we can't forget his other work.
Oh, definitely not. We'll also explore his pivotal work in photography, which is fascinating, and that really daring expedition to the southern skies.
And hold on tight, because the tale of the Great Moon hoax throws a truly, bizarre curveball into the whole narrative.
It really does. Get ready for some real aha moments as we unpack this pretty extraordinary life.
And for you listening, this isn't just, some historical footnote. Herschel's journey is such a powerful illustration of how to navigate immense expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It shows the courage required to change course when things just don't feel right. And honestly, the incredible things that can happen when you embrace a wide range of passions.
Yeah.
It's really about understanding that your own path to significance might look absolutely nothing like the one others expect you to follow. Okay, so let's dig in then. Our sources reveal that John Herschel initially made some pretty serious waves in a field that seems, light years away from his father's observatory, mathematics.
It's completely different.
He didn't just dabble either. He was a Smith's Prize man at Cambridge, which is a huge deal, right? Really indicated exceptional mathematical talent.
A massive deal, yeah.
And he became a fellow at St. John's College. He even published significant mathematical work, like a whole treatise on finite differences.
It's really striking, isn't it? Early on, he establishes this powerful intellectual identity in a completely different domain.
Right.
It wasn't just some youthful interest. It signaled a mind capable of really profound abstract thought, kind of hinting that maybe his destiny wasn't necessarily written in the stars his father observed.
Exactly. It really underscores that initial struggle maybe for self-definition.
Mm-hmm.
Here's someone demonstrating mastery in a field totally distinct from astronomy, yet the, let's call it gravitational pull of his father's achievements and societal expectations must have been enormous.
Absolutely enormous. And the sources detail his 18-month venture into law, apparently at his father's urging.
18 months?
Yeah, that relatively short period, it speaks volumes about the internal tug-of-war he must have experienced.
Yeah.
He tried to meet those external expectations, but ultimately it just didn't resonate.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the pressure so many people face to follow a predetermined path, even when their own internal compass is pointing somewhere else entirely.
Totally.
And it took genuine courage for him to step back from law and essentially, start anew.
It really did.
It highlights a crucial point for all of us, I think. Recognizing when a path isn't right and having the strength to reevaluate isn't failure. It's actually a sign of self-awareness and, potential growth.
And what's fascinating is the context of his return home. His father's health was declining, and those groundbreaking telescopes stood largely silent.
Right. The obvious assumption would be.
Exactly. That he'd just pick up where his father left off. Simple succession.
Yeah.
However, the narrative our sources build really emphasizes that while he did dedicate himself to astronomy, his approach was uniquely his own.
So not just carrying on the family business.
No, not just replicating his father's observations. He was driven, it seems, to explore new frontiers and pose different scientific questions altogether.
But it wasn't just a straightforward inheritance of a scientific mantle, was it? I mean, the sources mention his battles with fatigue,
Oh,
the inevitable technical glitches with the instruments, which must have been incredibly frustrating,
you can imagine.
and that universal feeling of self-doubt that can creep in when you're tackling something monumental.
Absolutely. It really humanizes him, doesn't it? He didn't just magically become the next great astronomer.
No instant transformation.
There were real, relatable struggles involved in embracing that legacy. And it went beyond just the pure science, you know?
Precisely. And that consistent effort, that unwavering dedication, even when facing those very human challenges, that's a key takeaway here.
Definitely. It reinforces the idea that significant achievements, especially in science, they rarely come easily. It's often a process of, like, incremental progress, overcoming setbacks, and just persistent inquiry.
But here's where his story takes another really fascinating turn. Herschel's intellectual curiosity wasn't just limited to the celestial sphere, was it?
Not at all. He made truly significant contributions to the burgeoning field of photography.
Right, inventing the actinometer, that device to precisely measure the intensity of the sun's rays.
Exactly. And conducting groundbreaking work in photochemistry.
What's remarkable is how this demonstrates a mind that naturally seeks connections and patterns across seemingly, disparate scientific disciplines.
It really speaks to a fundamental drive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To understand the natural world in its broadest sense.
Yeah.
His investigations into the phenomenon of color blindness and the chemical power of ultraviolet rays, it just further illustrates this incredible intellectual breadth.
So he wasn't just looking upwards.
No, he was deeply engaged with the physical and chemical processes shaping our everyday world. This wasn't some siloed intellect. It was one actively seeking the interconnectedness of natural phenomena.
Then comes this incredibly ambitious undertaking, his expedition to the Cape of Good Hope in 1833. Just pause and consider that for a moment.
It's huge.
Leaving behind everything familiar to establish a state-of-the-art observatory in what was then a very remote part of the globe. What kind of scientific ambition, what profound internal drive propels a decision like that?
That journey to the southern skies was truly a landmark undertaking. It signifies such a deep commitment to expanding humanity's understanding of the cosmos, beyond the largely northern hemisphere-centric view of the time.
Right, charting the uncharted, basically.
Pretty much. His motivations must have been this potent mix of scientific zeal and a real desire to contribute something unique to astronomical knowledge.
And his achievements there were considerable, weren't they? I mean, the very act of naming Saturn's moons, Mimas, Enceladus, Tethys, Dione, Rhea, Titan, Iapetus.
Yeah, and Uranus's moons, too. Ariel, Umbriel, Titania, Oberon. These weren't just, scientific acts of categorization.
No, those names are still part of our astronomical lexicon. It's easy to just take them for granted. But realizing that a single person, with careful consideration, bestowed these monikers on distant celestial bodies, it adds a layer of humanity to the vastness of space.
Well put. As our source notes, there's a real poetic dimension to these names, linking scientific discovery with, mythology and literature.
It really underscores that his scientific mind wasn't divorced from the humanities at all.
Exactly. But then, right amidst this period of significant scientific advancement, we encounter this utterly unexpected and, frankly, bizarre episode. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835.
Oh, this story is wild.
Isn't it? The New York Sun published this series of wildly imaginative, completely fabricated articles claiming that Herschel had discovered life on the moon.
Including, what was it? Bat-winged humanoids.
Bat-winged humanoids. Sensational descriptions, totally made up, and the public just ate it up.
It's almost comical looking back, isn't it? This highly respected scientist suddenly at the center of this elaborate, completely untrue narrative.
Completely untrue. And what's truly remarkable, I think, is his response.
Yeah. What did he do?
He didn't engage with the absurdity. He didn't issue scathing public denials or get drawn into a media circus.
Did he bear it on?
He simply continued his meticulous work with unwavering integrity. There's a really valuable lesson there, I think, about staying grounded in truth and purpose amidst the clamor of misinformation.
Absolutely. His dignified silence spoke volumes, really. It demonstrated a commitment to the enduring pursuit of knowledge over, fleeting sensationalism.
Definitely. And if we broaden our view, his impact rippled outwards in some surprising ways. Our sources highlight how his writings profoundly influenced Charles Darwin.
Darwin. Really? How so?
During Darwin's visit to Cape Town, apparently Herschel's ideas significantly shaped his early thinking on the origin of species. That's a powerful example of intellectual cross-pollination, isn't it?
Wow, it truly illustrates the far-reaching influence of a curious and rigorous mind.
And it wasn't just Darwin. You look at his diverse writings on meteorology, physical geography, even his translation of Homer's Iliad.
He translated the Iliad, too.
Yeah, it all paints this portrait of an incredibly multifaceted intellect, a true Renaissance mind, as our source aptly puts it. Someone who just wasn't afraid to venture far beyond the traditional boundaries of scientific inquiry.
So, as we kind of piece together the tapestry of John Herschel's life, what are the key threads that emerge for you?
Well, we see someone navigating this formidable legacy of his father, right?
Yeah.
Initially forging his own path in mathematics.
Demonstrating that courage to pivot when law didn't fit.
Exactly. And ultimately embracing astronomy, but very much on his own terms, making significant contributions while simultaneously exploring entirely different scientific domains like photography.
His story powerfully demonstrates that true greatness isn't merely inherited, is it?
Not at all. It's actively cultivated through perseverance, adaptability, and a willingness to pursue diverse passions.
And that ability to adapt, to not be defined solely by external expectations, even those tied to such a monumental family legacy that feels incredibly pertinent today.
It really does.
It reminds us that perceived setbacks or changes in direction aren't necessarily failures. They're often just detours that can lead to even more interesting and ultimately fulfilling destinations.
And this prompts, I think, a crucial reflection for you listening. Considering John Herschel's extraordinary journey, maybe ask yourself, what unique possibilities might unfold in your own life if you, like Herschel, embrace your diverse curiosity?
If you learn from those inevitable challenges.
Right, and pursue your own discoveries with steadfast determination, even when you're facing uncertainty or the weight of external pressures.
Just as John Herschel expanded our understanding of the vast cosmos, your own story, your own potential contributions to the world, they're also in motion, waiting to be revealed.
It's an inspiring thought, isn't it? The voyage of discovery really does continue for all of us.